Welcome to episode 138 of Soccer Over Gotham, Chesky Strikes Back edition. We have a great show for all of you. Let's talk about what's on this episode. First, we have an incredible game at Sports Illustrated Stadium. 13,000 fans in attendance, a game that left fans divided. There were a lot of different opinions about this game, whether it was positive, negative, all over the place. A lot happened, and we'll get into it. We're also going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into who is this Kayla Duran. He ended up playing about 15 minutes in this game, last game, and I think people are generally interested in knowing more about her. We talked a little bit about her on the previous episode. We'll do a little bit more of a deep dive. Then we're going to cover the game. Then we'll talk about previewing 3 Gotham games in a week. It's going to be a lot. But first, Soccer Over Gotham on a Sunday. Why is that? Noelle is on vacation. Ruby is on vacation. And right after this, I'm going on vacation. So we're getting this out of the way, getting it done. So if it's not Ruby, if it's not Noella, who is it as my guest co-host? It is Amanda Westlake of All 411. Read all her stuff there. Amanda, how are you? It's good to have you back.
Good. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back on.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was hoping to catch up with you a little bit earlier because there's a lot of stuff going on. You wrote some really, really good, interesting articles, which we'll talk about. But I'm going to get a couple questions out of the way for you so we can get caught up. You just wrote an article about the rivalries in the NWSL. Now, in your opinion, do you feel that Gotham and Washington are a true rivalry?
So I think it's just at the beginning phases, just starting out. It doesn't have the history that something like Portland and Seattle do, and maybe it's not like the natural rivalry that San Diego and Angel City have when they both came into the league at the same time. But I think definitely starting out in that the final last year, or the semifinal with Spirit and Gotham, and it went to those penalty kicks and Spirit knocked Gotham out of the playoffs. I feel like that could definitely be the beginning of a rivalry. I feel like a lot of fans travel back and forth to the games. I saw Spirit fans at the game yesterday. I know I've been to DC myself to watch the Gotham Spirit games. I know a bunch of people who have too. I think that there are all the things that could make a good rivalry there.
Big crowd, fans were into it. I feel like the Washington games, it could be just the way they play, but it was very chippy, very physical. It had those kind of hallmarks of a rivalry. However, in your article, Jess Fishlock posted about like Seattle and Portland, and she just posted that like, we just hate Portland. Right. And I feel like if a Gotham player said that, or if like Trinity Rodman said that about Gotham, I don't know if it would feel that way. Like it feels real when Jess Fishlock says that we hate Portland, right? Like I don't think it's there yet, but I do think all the hallmarks are there of a growing a rivalry. If we both stay at the top 5 and fighting for championships every year, yeah, I think we're well on our way to be a rivalry. Speaking of rivalries, next year Boston is in the league. Now I saw your bio. It said that you got interested in soccer from watching Boston Breakers games, correct?
Yeah.
So, what is your thoughts on Boston joining the league next year? And if I think that if the league plays their cards right and doesn't like oversell it, I think the natural Boston New York rivalry could become a thing.
Definitely. I'm really excited to see it. I grew up in Boston, although I live in New York now, and I think Boston is like a great sports town. It has a good sports culture. I think that it really is just a matter of time before women's sports become a lot bigger. Really is like a missed opportunity in not to have had an NWSL team there before now. I think that it could absolutely be a rivalry.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think if the league tends to push these things a little bit too hard and a little bit too far. So I think if it's allowed to build organically, there's just this natural dislike between Boston and New York. I think it could be a good start of a rivalry there if it's done right.
Definitely.
Now, you recently put out an article, and it's something I definitely wanted to touch on, just the handling of the Sean Nahas firing in North Carolina. I'm curious your thoughts on that because it's a different world now where I'm a communications major. I just graduated this year, so like, that's my repertoire. So PR and communications are my thing. And everything that you're taught about PR and communications, like is not what they did. And it's in a new world because like I think Trump has changed this where it used to be like companies or businesses had some sense of shame where like if something goes wrong or whatever, they felt like they had to explain themselves. Oh, this is not us. This is not indicative of the brand or whatever that. But it feels like now it's more just like, why are you asking me about this?
Yeah.
It felt like very aggressive. Their denial of anything, and they didn't give us anything of substance either. I'm just curious how you thought that was handled.
Yeah, I was just really shocked, I would say. I saw, I think it was last Wednesday at 7 p.m. or around then, they just put out the statement that so they had parted ways, Azer terminated Nahas' contract, in which nobody really expected at all. And then I was on that press conference the next morning, and they just kept on saying, like, that there are a multitude of factors. We can't give any insight, just repeating that phrase, multitude of factors, which really just gave no insight at all and was just really a bit hostile to the press who were asking very fair, normal questions like were the players notified? What kind of timeline was this done on? Is there any investigation? And I think it's hard to say because we don't really know what happened. So hard to say, if it was handled appropriately or not. But yeah, I think that transparency is super important. And it just seems like, yeah, things weren't done in the right way with this, especially with how they handled communicating with the press.
Yeah, I always felt the courage were always acting like a big club in a small market. They always invested in their roster. They always had top players. They were always able to get Carolines and Jaden Shaw's over there, Ashley Sanchez. They always had the chance to like build their roster within in the right way. And I always felt that like they could have just used being below the line as the excuse, right? Like they expected more from their coach and they wanted better results. Like that was right there for them. Like why not just lean into that if there was nothing else going on?
Exactly.
So it was, I don't know, it was just really weird. And yeah, well, I don't think we're ever gonna. Well, maybe we will. But I feel like with this league, with that, especially that team, and then this league, who's had so many like negative firestorms going around, like I feel like they just needed to deal a little bit better with their communication.
Yeah,
Because
I
it just
totally
leads
agree.
people to think the worst. Um, so there's that. Also, I wanted to. You put out an article, mid-season grades, and you graded Gotham a B. So explain yourself.
Okay. I think that Gotham has had some difficult circumstances with their roster. Turner's injury, things like that. People have been injured, but I think that just based on Gotham's talent, where we expected them to be, the level of play we've come to expect over the past few years, they just really haven't been getting the results that we think that they should. A stretch of some difficult losses and ties where we really should have been taking home wins. Um, yeah, just not converting their chances. I don't know. I think that we haven't been at the level of that I would have expected.
Yeah, I think B is generous. I think C would probably be where I would have put them. I'm curious what the fans would have thought. If I saw that article earlier, I should have put a poll out at mid-season. But yeah, I think winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup is a big, huge deal, and I wanted that very badly. So I'm glad that they got that. But finishing like near, almost below the line at halfway point felt off considering the level of talent on this roster. So I still think they have a good second half of the season to get back there. But I think B minus C would have been fair for the midseason. And I also want to just touch on Amanda does really good work over at All for 11. And one of the things I definitely want to talk to you about earlier was an article you put out about Angel City in the league dealing with the ICE raids in Los Angeles. And obviously it's not stopping, so it's still going on. Just can you summarize the key points of that article, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit?
Definitely. So LA has been a place where all the immigration raids have been really prevalent. It's a very diverse city, a lot of immigrants. And yeah, I was really happy to see that Angel City was doing something about it, taking a stand. They were branded themselves as Immigrant City FC. They gave out t-shirts, raised awareness during their games. And I think it's just great because believe that teams in sports have the responsibility to speak out about things like this that are happening. When there's these terrible, sad things happening in your country and in your communities, a sports team is part of the community, and so there's players who are immigrants and staff, people who are surrounding the team, and so. Oh, I think it's great that they're doing something about it, and not just as pretending that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I think we have to just keep touching on that and keep touching on that, and because there's no soccer without immigrants in this country, and it's sad. There's the state of affairs that our country's in, and yeah, not something I really want to dig into on the podcast, but I appreciate Angel City doing that. I appreciate the support that Gotham gave them during that time, and we're all gonna have to stick together because this is unacceptable. Now let's get to some of the fans. I was curious just to see if our fans were fans of MLS and the men's side of soccer, and I wanted to see how many fans were fans of NYCFC, New York Red Bulls, Philadelphia Union, and the last part of the poll was men play soccer too, question mark, exclamation point. And 53% said men play soccer too. I know, right? Get back to the factories, gentlemen. I know, what are you doing? This is a women's sports now. So, but anyway, NYCFC 3%. Why is it still they can't cross the river? Is that what's going on over there in New York City? The Red Bulls, 23%, and Philadelphia Union, 20%. I thought that was interesting. See many Philadelphia Union fans. Your thoughts, Amanda? 'Cause I know you're from, you live in New York. Are you fans of any of the men's teams?
No, I don't follow men's sports at all.
Right.
Yeah, not even in any other sports. No baseball, hockey, football, none of that. Just women's soccer and then sometimes women's basketball. But actually, my friends and I have a little bit of an inside joke where we refer to women's sports as sports. Like we'll be like, "Oh, I'm watching a soccer game." But I heard there's like a men's soccer game going on too. Because women's sports are like the normal sports, but men's sports are specifically a little niche thing. But I'm actually curious, as you put MLS teams, I'm curious maybe if people follow like European teams or things like that.
Yeah, that may be. I started. I never like my whole playing career. I never really like watched or followed soccer too much.
Oh.
European soccer, sometimes World Cups and all that stuff, but I was always playing rather than watching. And then I started as a Red Bulls fan 2014, 2015. It was like right after their head coach got fired. It was a big deal. And then over time, I don't know, once I knew that women's soccer was a thing in the area, I just completely took over my life. And yeah, I don't watch any men's sports anymore. I watch the Red Bulls here and there. But I watch women's hockey, I watch women's basketball, I watch women's soccer. I'm trying to find how to watch women's lacrosse, women's volleyball. So it's funny when people find out that I don't watch any men's sports. But I'm a huge sports fan, so it's funny. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I women's sports is just way more interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the environment, the community, it's really unique in a way that men's sports aren't.
Yeah, and it's also like just the storytelling of it. Like I remember listening to this one like interview with like a men's soccer player, and it was a younger player, and like the most interesting thing about him was like he played Wii golf. I'm like, okay, but like think about like Midge Purse. It's like she's Harvard graduate, Harvard board of directors. It's like she's on Broadway. She's got her own podcast. She's starting a TV show. She's got like the women's games are just women are somewhat obviously there's a reason for that. There's a reason why women have so many fallback plans and for that. But I just find it to be just way more interesting.
Definitely.
Fun on a personal level. So everybody find us on Blue Sky, Soccer Over Gotham there. We have a lot of fans that we share their opinions on the show, so find us there. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. That's where we're pushing our show towards. We're still on Spotify, but I'm moving our way over to YouTube full time. So, all right. Now, let's talk about the team. Gotham FC fans have a lot more to cheer about right now because two of the stars have been nominated for Ballon d'Or awards. We have Anne-Katrin Berger is nominated for the Women's Yashin Trophy, honoring the world's top goalkeeper. And of course, Esther Gonzalez is shortlisted for the 2025 Player of the Year. Just your thoughts on these two players being up for these awards and what it means for Gotham as a club in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super deserved. I watched a good amount of the Euros, and Esther has just been amazing. Ing scored so many goals. Just a beautiful player to watch. And AKP is just a phenomenal goalkeeper. She really kept Germany in the game under some difficult circumstances against France. I think that she's an amazing keeper. I'm so glad she's finally being recognized for the player that she is. But yeah, I think this is a great sign for Gotham that their players have been able to shine on this international level at the Euros, Europe. Especially because before joining Gotham, I don't think either of them were really consistent starters for their national team. So, it's really good to see. And I think Gotham, I've heard them say that they want to be a global club, and really, really grow in that way. And I think things like winning the W Champions Cup this past year, and then having these players be nominated for these very prestigious awards and make headlines in Europe is really great for Gotham, just growing as a club, getting more fans and building their legacy. Yeah, it's a great sign and totally deserved for both of them.
I think you hit it on the head. Gotham is their main goal is to become a global brand and a world recognized soccer club. They want to be one of the best in the world. Winning the cup was a huge deal for taking that next steps, and having players recognized on that list, two essentially players on that list, is incredible visibility for the club, and it kind of builds this aura about this club that the best players in the world want to come here and they want to play here, and we have an attractive style, and this is a destination place for the world's best players. So very excited about that, and obviously, what more can be said about those two? Just incredible. They're both on another level. Player that's not quite on that level yet, and we just met her. Kayla Duran she got 15 minutes in the past game in a rough spot. We're talking about at the end of the game, Gotham is holding on for dear life. Washington has Trinity Rodman on the field. That is a really tough spot to be thrown into, and I thought she showed really, really well. So I think fans who didn't listen to the last show are asking themselves, who is Kayla Duran and where did she come from? So let's talk a little bit about her to give a little bit more context about her as well. She was born in 1999. She is a center back. Now, what's interesting about her is, I don't know if the fans remember a player named Gina Lewandowski. Gina Lewandowski was one of the top forwards in high school. I think she even started her college career as a striker and was scoring all these goals. And then she ended up as a center back, and she was an amazing center back. Kayla has had a similar projection. She was a forward all through her high school career. I think she scored something like 60 goals in her high school career. Then she made her way back to center back, and she had played for Brown University in 2018, and she was named to the ACC All-Freshman team. She had a season-ending injury. She was also named Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. She was an all-first-team, all-Ivy selection 2 consecutive years. She helped win 3 consecutive Ivy League titles. She finished her college career as a graduate student in USC in 2023 and was named the All-Pac-12 first team. She was not drafted. This is her first pro contract as a national team replacement player. And there's something that, Amanda, that I've been saying since the start of this podcast. I've always hated the draft. And I always said that the level of talent never matched the level of opportunities. And players like Kayla Duran should be playing at this level. She should be. There's no reason why she shouldn't be playing at this level. And the fact that she wasn't is a crime. So now that she's here, she has time to grow. Hopefully she's healthy and ready to go. She's a versatile player. And you saw, at the end of this game, she played 15 minutes, had 5 defensive actions, 3 clearances, 2 headed clearances, an interception. And her positioning was good. She was communicative, and she's fast. She's tall. She's 5'10". There's a lot to like about her. And also she completed her one pass that she made. that she made. Just your thoughts on her popping up and what we could see from her.
Yeah, I really don't know a lot about her, but thing is that Gotham really needed a defender before signing her, and so hopefully she fills that hole. And always a good thing to get younger players who can be developed. I think it's very promising, although we've only seen 15 minutes, so I'm not sure if I can make any more conclusions.
Yeah, I agree there. She showed a little bit of everything you want to see from a young defender. So hopefully she can get more minutes, and because there is no depth in our defense, so we may end up seeing her more than we're expecting. I imagine. I mean, I don't want Lily Real and Sonnet to play every minute of every game. That's too much. Um, as good as they are, that's too much. Yeah. So there's that. So let's jump over to this game, which is obviously it's rivalry weekend. This is the fourth largest crowd for Gotham in their history, and it's just a different vibe in that stadium when it is packed. When the upper bowl is starting to fill out, the sound carries down in that stadium, so it's just so loud, and you can feel the difference in the team when the fans really get behind them. They feed off the energy. Example of this was Jalen Howell. She was loving it. Jalen Howell was pumping the crowd up like every like 10 to 15 minutes, trying to get the crowd into it because she knew that when this crowd is behind this team, they could really push forward and go for it. Uh, and you were there, Amanda. Where were you sitting, and like just what are your sense of the vibes?
Yeah. I usually sit behind the goalpost, but actually, it was like a midday game and it was really sunny. And so we actually moved to some different seats so we could get in the shade. But yeah, it was a great game. Lots of good energy. Gotham hasn't always been the best in the league at attendance. And, the location makes it difficult. So it's always really good to see people turning out. It's a good sign. I think the players feel it too. Yeah, I think that people really maybe are they're buying into the rivalry. Maybe they were just really excited to see Gotham back after the summer break. But it seemed like fans were really pumped up. They were cheering. They were loud. Yeah, and it's a great part of being a Gotham fan.
This was probably one of the more healthier rosters Gotham's had. We had Gabby back, we had Jace on the field, we had Astaire. And we're missing still some players. We're still missing Ella Stevens, but this was a pretty healthy roster. Most of our international stars were back, and it was just good to see this team nearing its final form. On the other side, Rodman is back. She's always a game changer, always dangerous. And as you saw in the previous game, she scored a goal in like the last minute of the game. She has that magic in her, so you're never out of the woods when she's on the field. So it's always good to see her play too because she's a tremendous talent. But both teams are definitely going for it. Washington's trying to push towards the top of the table, and Gotham is just trying to stay above the line. Now, I think what's interesting about Washington is they are one of the top scoring teams in the league, but they also do give up a good amount of goals. They've given up 20 goals so far, which is four more than any other team in the top six. And Gotham, for reference, has only given up 14 goals this season. Washington could have moved up to second if they won, but no one's catching KC at this point. Now, the roster, I think this is what fans wanted for this team. Carter, Freeman on the right side, Carter and Sonnet in the middle, and Real on the outside. I think that is very interesting. And I think the other interesting thing is Jace is on the field, Shapansky, Harper gets the start, and Neely Martin is on the bench. We have Howell and LaBelle in the middle. Your thoughts on the back line and Martin not starting?
Yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit of a more attacking formation than usual, having Jalen on the role as a six, and maybe it's Lavelle and Shapansky and more of like a attacking midfielder role. But yeah, I was happy to see this back line. I think Mandy and Sonnet are a good center back pairing, and having Jets and Lily can take a bit more of attacking roles as outside backs. Like it works pretty well. Yeah, I think that Kaya Harper has been a player who she just got her first start in the last game against Chicago and scored a goal, and then started this game. A good young player who I'm excited to see a bit more of.
Yeah. And if you know Amoros, the way he coaches, he gives players runs, especially if they are performing well. So usually it's like if a player pops into the lineup and they have a good game, you're pretty much expected to see them for the next like 2 or 3 games. He gives them a run out, lets them improve on their skills. So I was expecting to see Harper on the field for this game as well. Midge on the bench was a great sign. I mean, we were all thinking the worst with her hamstring injury leaving after 12 minutes in the last game. but glad to see her back. But Amanda, this is the first time in my entire from being a Red Bulls fan to a Gotham fan. However, I've never seen the pitch like this. It was gutted, it was dry, it was patchy. The players mentioned it in the post game presser. Both teams had to play on it, so it is what it is, right? Like, there's no excuses there. But it was a messy pitch. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just too bad. You would think that in WSL by now there'd be a bit of a higher standard of how the field conditions should be. But yeah, it was very patchy. I could notice like huge just dry spots where there is barely any grass. Yeah, kind of sad to see. I hope that it's better in the future.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just because once Sports Illustrated took over, they started adding more concerts, more games. Obviously, I think the Red Bulls are playing they played like 3 games in the past week there or something crazy. And obviously Gotham's going to be playing 3 games really soon in a short period of time. So there's a lot going on that stadium, and they got to do better because that field is usually like the gem of American soccer. So that was really upsetting in a way to see it that way. And lastly, I have one VAR note, and that is Chesky. Now, things we should talk about this game. First, we should, as fans of this podcast, longtime fans of this podcast know, I've talked about referees maybe once a season. Maybe. I felt I've talked about them twice or maybe 3 times this season so far, and that's not a good sign. Because like the field itself, like both teams had to play on it with the refs. Both teams had to play with the ref. So usually it's like refs are human. You just have to adapt to the field. You have to adapt to the way the ref calls the game. In this game, Gotham did a good job because early on it seemed like they were letting a lot of stuff go, and then Gotham's like, okay, if they're getting away with this stuff, so then I can get away with this stuff. So you kind of have to like adjust to how soft or hard the ref calls the game. But in this game in particular, Mandy said that the team wanted to rebound from a poor performance against Chicago, which we all saw, and they wanted to be on the front foot early, and they were. For the first 25 minutes, 65, 70% possession. They're in Washington's half. They're pushing Washington around. And then Gotham gets a bit wonky and gets stripped. Well, first it was Lavelle with a poor back pass, which led to a chance on goal. Then a Berger gets stripped and the ball hits the post. Then the game changes on... I mean, your thoughts on it. Jace gets caught up in a tackle where she steps on the Achilles of a Washington player. She did do it. Just your thoughts. Do you think that was a red card?
Yeah, this card just came in the 30th minute or so and just totally changed the game. I think that it was a very soft red card. I know it went to VAR. I think when it goes to VAR, they have to either give a red card or nothing. It can't just be a yellow. I just don't know if it was a red card. It seems very harsh to me. I haven't watched the video back, but I seems like from what people are saying that wasn't intentional at all. That it was an accidental step.
Yeah, we've been through this already this season. Mandy Freeman got a red card for a very similar. She stepped on the player's Achilles coming from behind, not intentional, nothing in it. There's nothing in Jace's character or Mandy's character that shows that they would be a vicious player or intentionally doing that to another player. So it's not in their character. So it's hard to believe that was a red. You did mention, right, that once if it's not called a yellow, the VAR cannot look at a yellow or change it to a yellow if it's not called that way. It can only be a red. It might have factored into it, but knowing that Chesky's in the VAR booth is a bit suspect, and Amros brought that up in the post-game presser, and I'm surprised Amros has not got fined yet this season. It's been rough, and he did not hold back in the press conference about the reffing, and Gotham is run of the mill when it comes to yellow cards in the league. We're one of the higher yellow card teams, but nothing's really out of the ordinary there because it's an aggressive team. But we have four or five red cards already this season, and no other team has more than one. So why is this happening? Is Gotham just more aggressive than everybody else, or are things being called against Gotham that aren't being called? And in that particular situation, 10 minutes later, Jess Carter goes down in the box. She gets her Achilles stepped on from behind on a ball that's coming across, and she sits down on the pitch for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. The ref had time to look it over and go to the VAR and check it out, and they did not. So there, and then you saw Mandy talking to the ref, pointing back in that direction, saying, "We just went through this. Like you just gave us a red card for the same thing. What is going on?" Sonnet said the same thing. Astaire said the same thing to the ref, and the ref didn't call anything on it. They should have at least looked at that, in my opinion. If you're looking at consistency, I think that is something that should have been looked at. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, maybe teams are being held to different standards and it just, yeah, it doesn't seem right.
Hmm. Yeah, if you look at the momentum chart, it was all Gotham. And then it just becomes all Washington Spirit. Gotham sits a little bit back. And when a team goes down a player, you try to get more compact. You try to minimize the damage. 90% of the time, it's like if you're running a 4-4-2, you switch to a 4-4-1, right? In Gotham's case, it's a 4-3-3, so it's like a 4-3-2 or maybe a 4-4-1 when you go to that. You're really expecting players on the offensive side are going to have a lot more room and a lot more defenders on them. So you're going to need players to come on and be able to take defenders on, buy time, break lines, and hold the ball up. Gabby did a great job of that. We'll get to that. But fans, let's see what the fans thought about that red card. First, we had Judy, who said yellow, yes; red, definitely no. Chesky must have thought it was retaliation. It's possible. Marie said that is not a red card, but with Chesky in the VR room, shrug. Then Linda said, no way, that was a red. So it's unlucky. Same thing with the Mandy. It's like those things where like you either put yourself in a position to get lucky or unlucky. And unfortunately, we were in a position to get unlucky because this was Gotham's game up to that point. Other things happen in this game. Rose Lavelle gets, I don't know, how do you describe that? You get hooked on the side, dropped like you're in the WWE, and the player lands on top of her, and you can see her holding her ribs. And nothing. Astaire gets a shoulder on the back from behind in the back of her head on a chested down ball. Not a call. It's just, for me, it felt like not a consistent and well-refed game.
I think I agree with you. I definitely saw things out there that seemed like they should be fouls but weren't called.
The fans were mixed on this one. Dr. Greg said this game was a waste of time for fans. I don't think the NWSL is serious about consistent quality refereeing. I somewhat agree, somewhat disagree with that. One thing is you want better quality referees, you got to pay them, right? Referees should not be a side hustle, and most of the referees for pro and all that, they're side hustles. It's funny because I used to like dig into like who the refs were, and like they would always have like these like master's degrees and like neuroscience. I'm like, what are you doing as a referee? They just love the game, and that's why like I kind of get a little bit of breaks. I'm like, they're just human beings. They just love being around the game. This is not like a profession for them until they get paid more. So that sucks. But Amros in the post game mentioned that it was the same ref as the KC game who called the red card, and he says that Gotham is consistently playing against more than 11 players. Yeah, but however, the positive thing, Amanda, is that Gotham is yet to be beaten when they get a red card. Even when they were down 2 players against Utah, they won that game 3-0. So they are like 1 win and 3 draws going down a player. And so what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously Gotham is a team that does not give up despite the situation.
Yeah, it's a fun statistic. I actually didn't realize that until I think I saw you tweet about it. Um, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like getting red cards is a good strategy, but maybe it works. And I think that it definitely, you're right, it shows the perseverance of the team that even when in the situation against Utah where they had 2 red cards, they still didn't give up.
Yeah, it's in a way it makes things tougher on both teams because obviously with being a player down, you have to be more compact and take your shots. On the other side, you're playing against a team now who's sitting in a little bit more compact, so it's harder to break them down because they're not going to come out and face you on your end. So it makes it tougher on both teams trying to execute their game plan. I thought though the coaching from Juan Carlos in this game was excellent. I thought his substitutions were spot on. I think adding Neely as an attacking midfielder, just breaking up plays, not allowing them to find balls to Trinity Rodman, I thought was awesome. I thought Stengel really did create a little bit of magic. She nearly had that late goal. What it was like an inch off. What a save from Kingsbury, and most other keepers that's going in. And I think, as we talked about earlier, Duran made a good impression on her first debut. Your thoughts on those three players?
Yeah, they're all good substitutions. Nelly starts a lot, but I thought that this was a good use of her. I agree. It was good to see her in the game and give the team a little bit more defensive power towards the end where they were trying to prevent another goal, any goals. Yeah, Katie Stengel is an interesting player to see back. She used to be a Gotham player, then we re-signed her after a stint at Crystal Palace. But yeah, I hope that maybe she'll be a good player to have back at Gotham, hopefully. And yeah, we talked about Kayla Duran before.
Yeah, and Midge showing up at the last 5 minutes of the game was excellent. You still could see that she was being affected by her injury. There was two chances where she pushed a ball around a player. She had two chances to go full sprint, and she kind of pulled up a little bit and didn't want to go 100%. I get it, but it's good to have pulling her off the bench in the last 5 minutes was a good way to really attack Washington at the end. And I think Gotham did a great job. They ended the game on a corner, a free kick, and some dangerous positions. Although the chances that weren't created, as far as suspected goals are concerned, I still think it was a good sign that this team took it to a very good Washington team down a player. Any player notes that you have?
It's good to see Midge being able to play and being at least somewhat healthy. I don't know. I think that looking at the success of the Spirit and what a strong roster that they have, and how Gotham has been playing, I think that just getting 1 point out of this game was a good sign, and it's something that Gotham should be happy about.
Yeah, well, we definitely got to talk about Lily Real. In the post-game presser, a question was asked to Amros. I'm sorry, I forget the person who asked the question, but it was basically about at the end of the game, Lily was pumping the team up and really trying to get them to go forward, trying to get them to fight. And her leadership as such a young player is so impressive. She created 5 chances on the night, which is impressive. She was incredible on the defensive side of the game, and she was awesome on the offensive side of the game. And Amros said of her that she's a winner. He said from the first day in training with us last year, we were impressed with how much she wants to win and her willingness to do whatever it takes to help the team. She has the aura of a future captain, whether that is with us or the national team. She's a natural leader, demanding of others and herself, and is always ready to step up. And also on the rookies, he said that they're all becoming leaders. He said they're all learning from players like Emily Sonnet and Ann Berger, Rose Lavelle, and Esther Gonzalez. These are all world-class players who not only know how to play football, but how to win. This is an amazing rookie class. And this is something that we're not used to. Gotham usually has one or no rookies on this team. And to have 4 or 5 of them that are darn good and future stars is amazing.
Yeah, I think it really shows an investment into the future of the team in a way that we haven't always seen before, and that's really, really exciting to see. And I think Lily is a great player. One of my favorite players to watch on Gotham this season, actually. As an outside back, she can attack, she can defend, put crosses into the box. Yeah, and I think that I was really, really excited to see her get that U.S. Women's National Team call-up and play her first few games with the national team. I actually got a chance to do an interview with her last week, which was really great, and I'll have an article sometime in the next few weeks out. That's a bit of a profile on her, so really excited to have that. And she talked about enjoying playing with Gotham, what she's been up to this season, what it was like to be with the national team for the first time. But yeah, just a super great player that I'm happy to have for Gotham.
Okay, that's exciting. She's on our list to interview as well. So in the meantime, definitely read that article. When do you think it's coming out?
I don't know, maybe sometime in the next week. It just depends
right.
on when I can get it written.
Some vacation reading. I enjoy it. But do you have any takeaways from this match?
Yeah, I think that looking at the games against the Spirit, this year we've had one win, and there's a 0 win, and then one tie. I think that that's good since considering that Gotham lost against the Spirit twice last year, and so I think this is a good development. I believe they're in our group for the W Champions Cup, and so we'll get to face off against them, in that. That's a pretty big game trying to get into the finals for the Champions Cup again. But yep, I think that a tie is a good result for Gotham.
Yeah, just proud of the team, proud of the effort. It was a very hot game, a lot of running. Team did well. I think this is a positive thing. My stat of the game is holding Trinity Rodman to 20 touches in like 35 minutes. I think most of them came very late and very far from the goal. So good on Gotham's defensive effort. Kayla Duran did well against Rodman. Sonnet, obviously. Lily did an excellent job as well. Defense in this game were amazing. Let's just talk about it. Hero of the match. Fans voted the entire back line as the player of the match at 50%. Booing Chesky was 32%. Howell 12.3%, and Esther's motor at 5.3%. Esther is just something else, though. Just watching her run in like the 85th minute in like that heat all game, and when Gotham goes down a player, she has to track all the way back as a midfielder, as a defensive midfielder at times. Just her motor is just something else. It's hard to explain. Yeah, just incredible. But your thoughts on hero of the match?
I think the backline did a good job limiting Washington's opportunities. He had some great saves. Preventing any goals from going in is always good.
Fans on Blue Sky, QBoy999 said, I'm torn between Lily, who is a ball tackling, winning tower of strength in this as usual, and Jalen, who all but marked Croy Bethune out of the game until the red card, then covered every blade of grass for the rest of the game. They were also the two most visibly pissed off, which I personally appreciated. I appreciate that as well. And Ned Donovan said, hard not to argue for Sonnet, controlled the field completely. I agree. That's why I would put the whole back line. I think Carter had an awesome one-on-1v1 defending all match. Washington has a lot of experienced, versatile players, and Carter did an amazing job, especially one-on-one. She's a joy to watch when she's one-on-one defending. I don't think there's anybody better than she. And I think Manny had a good job as well, getting up the field, playing both sides of the ball. They were all put in bad positions, and to come out 0-0 against Washington, yeah, back line, 100%. Let's talk about the standings. We still have some games today to go to recording on a Sunday afternoon. But right now, Gotham is in 8th place, hanging in there with a positive goal differential, +5. Racing is just ahead of us with one more point, but a -5 goal differential, which is good for us. Below us is the Courage at -3 goal differential. So we are in a pretty decent spot. Chances to move up are coming. Washington stays at number 3. We're going to have the next 3 games. We have bottom of the table teams, then the Orlando Pride. So at home, we have Houston Dash, this August 17th, Sunday at 4 p.m. Then we have the Utah Royals, again, bottom table teams, on the 23rd, and then on the 29th. And we have, I think on Wednesday, the game in New York for the Champions Cup game, group stage. So there's a lot going on right now. It's going to be like 4 games in roughly 12 days. It's a lot. What do you think about this congested schedule, Amanda?
Yeah, I think that they'll have to do a bit more rotation. Hopefully they not wear the players out too much. It's definitely a tough schedule to balance. I think Gotham probably had the busiest schedule out of any NWSL team this year, or with the Champions Cup like final games earlier this year, and then now this group stage that we're playing this fall. Yeah, it'll be fun to have more matches to watch, but hopefully the players will get the rest that they need.
I'm going to miss my first Gotham game in a long time. The one in New York, I can't make it to Brooklyn on a Wednesday night from Allentown.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not happening. Are you going to be going to that game?
Yeah, I'll be at the Wednesday one. I'm excited to see it. I think it's at Icahn Stadium,
yeah,
which is a bit of a different location than usual. So I think better for us New York-based fans, but definitely harder for the ones in New Jersey.
Yeah. How much of a travel is that for you?
Not much, maybe 45 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's just talk about real quickly about the first game coming up, which is the Houston Dash. Yasmin, Delaney, Abby, all come into town. Hope they get a big round of applause, a big cheers from the crowd because they're in the DNA of this team that we're playing with right now, and we love them. And I'm just glad that they are all playing together. Abby has, I think I'm saying this forever, but like, I think she's better than Jane Campbell. I don't understand why she's not completely the starter there. But anyway, that's something completely else. But Gotham has a way of playing down to opponents. If Gotham keeps up the effort that they put in this game, I don't think Houston has a chance. But, as we've seen recently, Gotham has a way of playing down to opponents. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Gotham's first game against Houston this year, earlier on this season, I think it was one of the first few games. It was a 0-0 tie, just couldn't get any shots, and so hopefully that doesn't happen again. But yeah, we'll have to see, and it'll be good to see Yaz and Delaney back playing against Gotham this time. It'll be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Look forward to it. It's going to be, I got the week on vacation. As soon as I get back, it's Gotham, Gotham, Gotham. I don't know how we're going to I don't know how we're going to do a podcast that week. It's always like rough to do it with a midweek game, but we'll figure it out. But any random thoughts before we head out of here?
No, I don't think so.
I got a book to read over my vacation, and I almost finished it already. It's killing me. I'm like on a tear. Since I graduated in May, 12 or 13 books already. It's crazy.
What's the book you're reading?
Yeah. Some of the books that I've just recently read are behind me. Ninth House, Firekeeper's Daughter, Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is a good one. Crooked Kingdom's amazing. And This Is How You Lose the Time War was one of the most fun books I've ever read. What?
I'm reading a book called The Left Hand of Darkness right now by Ursula Le Guin.
Okay. How is that?
It's great. I definitely recommend it.
Left. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this book before I even get on vacation.
Nice.
So, okay, that looks interesting enough. Down my alley. Okay, sci-fi. I love sci-fi. Okay, sounds good to me. All right, so we will see you next weekend. All right, everybody, we'll see you soon. Let's go.